Hi, Year 10. Here is our work for Wednesday. Exercise 3E, we are multiplying and dividing fractions, but they're a little bit harder this time compared to what we did yesterday. Okay, here we go. So it's a little bit of a combination of what we did on Monday and Tuesday to have a go at these ones, all right? So let's see how we go. Now, here we go. We're multiplying fractions. Now, the biggest thing here with these ones is I would suggest you always cancel first. So when you got yucky looking ones like this, my suggestion is always to cancel first, okay? Don't multiply across like we did yesterday, okay? Try and cancel first. Now, if you wanted to multiply across, then this is what I would suggest you do. X plus 1 times 5. Now, whenever you've got this line going under two terms, it means those two terms are in brackets. Okay, and same with this one. Got a line there. If you've got two terms together underneath it, they're in brackets. So if I did multiply them, I'd go 5 times x plus 1. So I'd do this. And I'd still leave that x plus 1 in brackets like that. And I'd still leave the 6 and the x plus 1 in brackets. All right? Now what you do, either do on the blue section and go, right, there's an x plus 1 on the top, there's an x plus 1 on the bottom, or you go to your red section and you go, oh, there's an x plus 1 on the top, there's an x plus 1 on the bottom. Either way, you get the answer of, not running out of room here, 5 over 6. Oh, pardon me. Okay? Right, let's try the next one. Question G. I'm going to give you a second to do that, so can you pause the video and I'll give you a minute to have a go. Right, let's see if we can find the answer now. Okay, so I've got an x plus 3 on the top in the numerator and an x plus 3 on the bottom. So straight away, I'm going to cancel that out. Remember, that just means a 1, but you don't really have to write it in if you don't want to. So straight away, I can go to my answer. 1 times 4 leaves me with 4. That's all that's left on the top. And 9 times 1 leaves me with 9. Okay, I want you now to try H, I, and J. So can you pause the video now and have a go at H, I, and J on your sheet, please? Okay, hopefully you've had a go at those now. So let's see how you went. Now on this one here, you'll notice you've got a y minus 7 on top. You've got a y minus 7 on the bottom. Remember, line goes above both of them, so it's like they're also in brackets. So I can cancel out anything that's exactly the same inside those brackets. It's exactly the same as the others, but they have to be exactly the same. Okay, now remember that means a 1 just in case you want to write something underneath that set of brackets where there's nothing. Now I've now got a 4 here and a 2 and a 5, and if you wish, a 1 down here. So I'll just write them over here. 4 over 2 times 5 over 1. Now you can multiply across, or you can cancel straight away from here. I'm going to multiply across because that's what we were doing yesterday. 4 times 5 is 20. 2 times 1 is 2. How many 2's fit into 20? Hopefully you said 10. Remember, if your brain's not working, use your calculator. It will work for you every time. Okay, here comes I. All right, with I now, I have an a plus 6 on the bottom. I have an a plus 6 on the top. So I am going to cancel out the a plus 6's. All right, that leaves me with a 1 down here. If this one's got at least a 3, so you probably don't need to write the 1 in. But if there's nothing down the bottom here, you might just want to write a 1 in down there. Okay, so let's just multiply across, shall we? I'm going to rewrite what I've got. So I've got 10 over 1 times 3 over 4. So 10 times 3 gives me 30. And 1 times 4 is 4. What does that equal? Well, 30 over 4, you can use your calculator. I'm going to do that right now, if I can hold on to my calculator. 30, fraction key, not going to work, fraction key 30 over 4 gives me 15 over 2. And if you know how to break that down, 15 over 2 is the same as, how many 2's fit into 15? 2 sevens are 14, aren't they? So if you wish, as a mixed numeral, it's 7.5. If your calculator gave you 7.5, that's okay. All right, J. If I have a look at J, I've got an x minus 2 on the top and the bottom. Beautiful. Let's get rid of them. Now I'm running out of room, so I'm going to try and do what I can with the numbers that are left. So I've got a 4 on the top, 7 on the bottom, 14 on the top, and a 5 on the bottom. I know that 7 goes into 7 once, 7 goes into 14 twice. Okay, 4 won't go into 5 evenly, 2 won't go into 5 evenly, so none of the top numbers will go into the bottom number, so I'm going to multiply it out now. 4 times 2 is left on the top, and I believe 1 times 5 is left on the bottom, so that leaves me with 8 over 5. If you would like to change that to a mixed numeral like the one at the top, up the top, how many 5s fit into 8? Well, hopefully you said 1 with 3 left over. Okay, now did I tell you to do K? I can't remember. So let's have a go at K. It looks pretty much the same. If you haven't had a go at K yet, can you pause the video now and have a go at it for me? Right, here's our answer. We've got an x plus 2 and an x plus 2 on the top and the bottom, so let's get rid of them. I've got a 2 on the bottom over here and an 8. How many 2s go into 2? Hopefully you said 1. How many 2s go into 8? Hopefully you said 4. Now I've also got a 3 and a 9 here, and I know that 3 goes into 9. So I'm going to cancel those out. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 9 3 times. That leaves me with 1 over 1 times 4 over 3, which hopefully you know is 4 over 3. All right, what about L? Again, if you haven't had a go, pause the video. Cross off the 2x plus 1s. Remember, that's as if it's in brackets. Okay, now here I've got, that's a 1 there if you want to write something there. I've got an x on the bottom here and an x sitting on its own there. So remember, I can cross off an x for an x. I've got a 3 on the bottom and a 9 on top. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 9 3 times. What am I left with? 4 times 3 on the top gives me 12. And 1 times 1 on the bottom is just 1. You can put it over 1 if you want, but you don't need to. Okay, so now let's get into G. Now remember, what was the rule from yesterday? The rule is flip the fraction after the division sign, and then you change the division to a times. Then times. All right, let's see if we can remember how to do this. I haven't got a lot of room there, so I'll write it underneath. So the first thing I need to do is rewrite the question. X plus 4 all over 2. Flip my second fraction. That means the 6 goes on the top. X plus 4 goes on the bottom. And I change my division to a times. Okay, what's the same on the top and the bottom? X plus 4 looks the same to me. Let's get rid of them. Now we've got a 2 and a 6. So if I rewrite that, I've got a 6 on top. I have a 2 on the bottom. How many 2s fit in 6? Hopefully you said 3. Next one. I'll give you a minute. Pause the video. Can you please flip that second fraction for me? All right, let's see how you went. So I rewrite the first fraction as it is. I flip my second fraction and oopsies, let's get rid of that. Made a mistake. I changed the division to a times. Now remember, that's the same as brackets. I have an x minus 2 on the top, x minus 2 on the bottom. Cancel those out. I've got a 5 on top, 4 on top, and an 8 on the bottom. I know 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 twice. What am I left with? 5 times 1 on the top is 5. 2 times, remember that's just the same as a 1. 5 over 2. How many 2's fit into 5? Hopefully you said 2 with 1 left over. Alright, let's keep going. Here's I. All right, so I'll give you a sec. Change it for me. Flip that second fraction. You can pause the video if you want to have a go. All right, here we go. 3x plus 4. Now don't be tempted to expand those brackets because that's not what we do. We change the division to a times and we flip the second fraction. When we expand the brackets, we are just making life harder for ourselves. Right, what's on the top? It's also on the bottom. I'd like to get rid of those ugly brackets first because they look really hard. So let's get rid of them. All right, next, I've got a 3 on the top. Will that go into anything on the bottom? Hopefully you said yes, 6. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 6 twice. Now I've got a 10 and a 15 on the top. Can you think of any numbers that go into 10 and 15? Hopefully you said 5. 5 goes into 10 twice, and 5 goes into 15 3 times. That leaves me with 1 over 2 times 3 over 2. So that means I go 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 2 is 4. Right, let's try the next one. 2 over, you have a go and pause this video if you want to have a go on your own. Change the division to a times. Flip the second fraction. Haven't left myself a lot of room here, have I? Okay, so let's do it. Let's put those in brackets. What's exactly the same I could get rid of. Now I have a 2 on the top and a 10 on the bottom. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So what am I left with? 1 over 5 times 1 over 5. Remember, multiply top times the top. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, pause the video if you want to have a go at this one on your own. Otherwise, come on the journey with me. Okay, let's rewrite. 2 bracket x minus 3 all over x minus 4. Change the division to a times. Flip that second fraction. Don't multiply any brackets out. Let's see what we can cancel. Remember, these are the same as if they had brackets around it. Do you see x minus 3 on the top and the bottom? Hopefully you said yes. Let's get rid of them. Do you see x minus 4 on the top and the bottom? Hopefully you said yes. Let's get rid of them. All right. I can't see any number on the bottom that's going to go into anything on the top. So I'm left with not a lot of room there. So I'm going to multiply what I've got. 2 times 5. I'll do those in a nice purple. Leaves me with 10. And 1 times 1 is over 1. And 10 over 1 is just the same as 10. So that's your answer. Right, these ones are a little bit harder. You might want to watch this one and then try the next one on your own. So these ones don't have the brackets. You have to create the brackets. So we're going to practice our factorizing here. So let's factorize first. So I need to factorize the top first. Okay, so let's look at 7a and 14a squared. Let's look at the number first. What number goes into 7 and 14? Have a look at the smaller number 7. Does 7 go into 14? Hopefully you said yes. So let's take the 7 out first. Beautiful. Right, now let's look at the letter. Is there a letter repeated in 7a and 14a squared? Hopefully you said yes. A. Beautiful. So I'm going to take 7 and a out. Now remember, my next step is I divide each of these by 7a. 7a divided by 7a, anything divided by itself equals 1. And 14 divided by 7 gives me 2. Hopefully I haven't run out of room. And then a into a squared. Cancel those lovelies out. I'm left with just an a there. Okay, so hopefully that's all right. Now on the bottom, I have 21a. Now you need to know with these things, if there's no brackets on the bottom, you can only cancel what's outside the brackets. Okay, only cancel what is outside brackets. So if you don't have another set of brackets that's exactly the same, you can't cancel that 2a at all with the a on the bottom. So you can only cancel the things that are outside the brackets. So let's pick a different colour. How about a green? So here I'd say to you, on the outside of the brackets on the top, what's a number that would go into the number on the bottom? Hopefully you said 7. 7 would go into 7 once, and 7 would go into 21 3 times. Next, looking on the outside of the brackets, is there a letter outside the brackets on the top that is also on the bottom? Hopefully you said, yes, the A. Woo, you are correct. There is an A. Now all we have to do is just write what's left. So on the outside of the brackets I had a 1. Do I have to write that if it's a 1? No, I don't. So I'm just going to write the brackets. 1 plus 2a. And all I'm left with on the bottom is a 3. Good, I've got enough room there. Now if you want, once you get to that position, you don't even have to write the brackets anymore. But remember, the rule is if that line goes under 2 terms, it means they are expected to be in brackets. So you could have just written your answer like that too. All right, let's try the next one. I'm going to stop there for a moment, give you a pause. I want you to try and do this, please, on your own. Factorise first. Pause the video. Here I go if you need my help. So I'm looking at 4x plus 8. What's the number that goes into 4x and 8? Like I said, look at that smaller number 4. Does 4 go into 8 evenly? If your answer is yes, then that's what you're going to take out. 4 is going out. Now divide each of these by 4 to figure out what goes inside the brackets. 4x divided by 4 leaves me with just x. There's a plus in the middle, so I'm going to put a plus. And 4 goes into 8 twice. So there's my first bit. Now let's factorise the bottom. Pardon me. 5x plus 10. What's the number that goes into 5 and 10? Look at the smaller number. 5 goes into 5, doesn't it? So 5 can go out. Divide each of these by 5. 5x divided by 5, hopefully you remember, leaves you with x. There's a plus in the middle, so write down the plus. How many 5's in 10? There are 2. Okay, can you see what to do now? What's the same on the top that's also on the bottom inside the brackets? Hopefully you said x plus 2. Let's cancel those out. What am I left with? 4 over 5. Beautiful. Let's try C. That one's a bit harder. Here we go. We need to factorise first. Okay, x squared plus 3x. What's something that's in both the x squared and the 3x? Hopefully you said x. Beautiful. So if we divide x squared divided by x, we're basically cancelling out one of the x's. Remember, x squared is xx. So when you divide by x, you're crossing off one of the x's. So that means you're just left with an x. Plus, now divide this one by x. Cross off the x's. What are you left with? Hopefully you said 3. Let's factorise the bottom one. 4x plus 12. What goes into 4 and 12? Well, does the smaller number 4 go into 12? Yep, sure does. So let's put down 4. And let's divide each of these by 4. How many 4's in 4x? Sorry, 4x divided by 4, should have said, is x. 12 divided by 4 gives me 3. Think you know what to do? Off you go then if you know what to do. Pause the video if you need to. Let's cross off. Get a red pen. Cross these ones that are exactly the same. 4 won't go into x, so let's just leave our answer as x over 4. All right, can you have a go at these ones for me, please? Pause the video. I'm going to go through the answers now, but you're more than welcome to pause the video at any time. All right, so again, you have to factorise first. 2m plus 4. 2 goes into 4, so I'm going to put 2 on the outside. 2m divided by 2 leaves me with just m. 4 divided by 2 leaves me with 2. Put the 15 on the bottom. Times. Now this one doesn't need factorising. Notice m plus 2 is all underneath that line, so let's put it in brackets. Okay, what's the same? Hopefully you said m plus 2, so let's factorise those. How much room do I have? Oh, a little bit. And 3 goes into 15. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 15 5 times. I'm left with 2 over 5 on the top and 1 over 1 on the bottom. So my final answer is 2 over 5. Pause the video if you want to have a go at this one. Otherwise, do it along with me. 5 minus x. I cannot factorise it any further. Can't do anything with 12 yet, or 14. But I can factorise 15 minus 3x. Look at the smaller number. Does 3 go into 15? Yep, it does. Right, so let's divide each of these by 3. What's 15 divided by 3? Hopefully you said 5. Minus 3x divided by 3 leaves me with just x. Now I've got 2 terms here, so I can put that in brackets. Let's cancel out the brackets that are exactly the same. Cancel, cancel. Right, now, top and bottom, 3 doesn't go into 14, but 12 and 14, you can actually divide them by 2, can't you? So that's what I'm going to do. How many 2's in 12? Hopefully you said 6. How many 2's in 14? Hopefully you said 7. So my final answer is 1 over 6 times 7 over 3. Outside the brackets is a 3. Top times top, 7. 3 times 6, 18. All right, what about this one? Okay, x squared plus 2x. We can factorise that one. Take the x out. Divide both by x. X squared divided by x leaves me with x. 2x divided by x, well, those x's cross off. I'm left with 2. Put that over 4. Multiply. Can't do anything with 8 just yet, but I can factorise 3x plus 6. 3 goes into 6, so I'm going to put 3 on the outside, that smaller number. Divide both by 3. 3x divided by 3 leaves me with x. 6 divided by 3 leaves me with 2. Okay, let's cancel. Brackets the same, are they? Sure are. Let's cross them off. I've got a 4 on the bottom and an 8 on the top. 4 goes into 4 once, and I know 4 goes into 8 twice. I'm going to write down what I have left. That's what I've got left. Multiply them out. 2 times x is 2x, and 1 times 3 is 3. Pause the video at any time. Remember the rule for this one is to multiply and flip the second fraction. Here I go. I'm going to do that first. Times 25 on top, 4x minus 2 on the bottom. Hopefully I'm going to have enough room for this one. So now I need to factorise. Can't factorise that 2x minus 1, so I need to write it as it is. Can't factorise 10. Can't factorise 25, but I can factorise 4x minus 2. Does the smaller number 2 go into 4? Hopefully you said yes. 2 goes into 4x twice. Don't forget the x. And 2 goes into 2 once. Cross off the 2x minus 1's. Does 10 go into 25? No, it doesn't, but 5 goes into both, doesn't it? So 5 goes into 10 twice, and 5 goes into 25 5 times. I'm left with 1 over 2 times 5 over 2. 1 over 2 times 5 over 2. So multiply top times top. I get 1 times 5 is 5. And bottom times bottom, 2 times 2 is 4. If you want, you could change that to 1 1/4. Either of those answers, if you got those, I'd be pretty happy. All right, next column. Let's try this one. Pause the video if you want to go on your own. Here we go if you want the answer. I'm going to factorise this one first. 2 will come out of 4, won't it? Or 2 goes into 2 and 4. So that means I can bring the 2 out. And I can go x plus. Remember, I'm dividing that by 2 and dividing that by 2. So 2 goes into 4 twice over 6x. Times. Now the x squared is going to go on top. 3x plus 6 will go on the bottom. Now I'm going to cheat and I'm going to rub this out because I think I'm going to run out of room. So I'm going to factorise that bottom one, okay? So 3x plus 6, I can take the 3 out, can't I? So I'm going to do a little cheater-rooney here. And I'm going to put a brackets in. So if you divide that one by 3, what are you left with? Hopefully you said 6. And if you divide that one by 3, you're left with 2. Beautiful. All right, x plus 2 on the top, x plus 2 on the bottom. Let's get rid of them. Remember, x squared is the same as having two x's like that, xx next to each other. So one of these x's can go with that x, or just the squared if you prefer. And I've got a 6 and a 2 here. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 6 3 times. So I'm left with 1 over 3 here and x over 3 here. Let's multiply them out. 1 times x is x. 3 times 3 is 9. Last but not least, oh, maybe not. A bit of a lie there. Hey, this has taken me a bit longer than I thought. All right, here we go. I'm going to do the old switcheroo because I might have not enough room. All right, so I've got 2x squared minus 4x. Does 2 go into 4 evenly? I think so. So I'm going to factorise. Take the 2 out first. Now have a look. We've also got x squared and x. So they've both got an x, so that means I'm going to take out a 2 and an x. So now, to figure out what goes inside the brackets, divide both by 2x. So 2 cancels with 2, x cancels with the squared, that leaves me with x. Minus, x crosses off with x, and 2 goes into 4 twice. Right. Now I can also factorise this bottom one. 3x minus 6, well 3 goes into 6, so I'm going to bring a 3 out. I'm going to put an x there. Remember, I'm dividing both by 3. And 6 divided by 3 is also 2. Ooh. Alright, let's flip our second fraction. So times x plus 5 goes on the top, 6x goes on the bottom. Oops, sorry about that. Alright, what can we cancel? Well, I'll do it in different colours so you can see it. This one and this one, they cancel, don't they? Now, x plus 5 is all together, so remember, it's got that line underneath, so put it in brackets so you don't actually accidentally cancel that x or the 5 with something else. So you can only cancel pretty much this one with this one or this one. You can't actually do anything with this one right now. So I can see there's an x on the top and an x on the bottom, here and here, so I can cancel those. There's also a 2 on the top and a 6 on the bottom. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 6 3 times. So that leaves me with 1 times x plus 5, so it's 1 over 3 times x plus 5 over 3. So let's multiply top times the top. 1 times x plus 5 is just x plus 5. You can either keep the brackets or take them out now. And 3 times 3 is 9. Beautiful. All right, so when you get to 11, you have to factorise by taking out the negative factor this time. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit hard. So let's take out the negative. So this time, we're looking at the numbers again. I've got a 3x and I've got a 9. Does 3 go into 9? Hopefully you said yes. So that's what I'm going to take out. So to figure out what goes on in the inside of the brackets, I have to divide both of these by negative 3. Now remember, keep all of this together in the circle. So negative 3x divided by negative 3 means the negative and the 3 cancel, and I'm left with just the x. Okay, now in this one, it's negative 9 over negative 3. Hopefully you remember a negative and a negative makes a positive, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. Now rewrite what's on the bottom, x plus 3. Notice that line goes all the way above the x plus 3, so it's as if that's in brackets. So final step, x plus 3 and x plus 3 cancel. That's the same as writing a 1. So my final answer is negative 3 over 1, which is just negative 3. Now if you think you know what you're doing, pause the video. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going. You can do this with me. All right, negative 4x minus 10. I'm going to factorise that first. Got to take out the negative factor first if there's a negative in front. What number goes into 4 and 10? Does 4 go into 10 evenly? No. So let's try and find a smaller number. Does 2 go into 4? Yes. Does 2 go into 10? Yes, it does. So that means I'm going to take a 2 out. Are there letters repeated in 4x and 10? No, so there's no letter to take out. Right, so let's divide this one by -2 and this one by -2. So all of this is -4x divided by -2. So the negatives cancel. Negative and negative makes positive. 2 goes into 4 twice. So that leaves me with 2x. Next, -10 over -2. Negative and a negative make a positive. 2 goes into 10 5 times. Close the brackets. Rewrite what's on the bottom. Oh, look at that. Looks familiar, does it? Let's cancel out top and bottom. And our answer is, remember that's a 1. Good old just -2. -2 over 1 or just -2. Okay, it's getting close to my bedtime, I think. All right, let's try this one and then we are done. All right, take the negative out. What's the same in the x squared and the 4x? This time it's got the same letter, hasn't it? And the same letter is an x. So let's take the x out. There's no numbers this time. So that means I have to divide by -x here and divide by -x here. So -x squared divided by -x. Now remember, x squared means there's 2 x's like that. So negative and a negative cancel, makes a positive. I'm going to cross out one of the x's with one of the x's. That leaves me with an x. Next one. Negative and a negative either cancel or they make a positive. And the x's cross off, leaves me with a 4. Notice, what do we have on the bottom? X plus 4 also. Cross those guys off and you're left with -x. There you go, year 10. Hope that was fun. See you next time.